Chapter 4. In the cab to the Empire State Building, Meg stopped flickering. What a relief! I sat back and took a closer look at him. Amazing. Meg even had a birthmark on his left cheek like me. You know, Meg, I said. Suddenly having a son is very weird, but it's also kind of cool. Oh, that's peerless, said Meg. What is? You just said something was cool. I never actually heard anybody use cool in a sentence before. I mean, I've read how kids used to say it all the time, but hearing you say it, it's well, cool. Meg laughed. Really? I said. I wasn't sure I enjoyed being laughed at. What are some words you guys use in the future? Peerless, he said, and splendid. Weird words, I thought. But in 30 years, I'd probably think they were splendid. Then again, in 30 years, I'd be old and a dad, so maybe I wouldn't. So, Mac, how am I as a dad? Splendid? Oh, yeah, I guess. But sometimes you get mad at me for stuff like having a messy room and having to use the auto sorter to clean it up, or for eating too much Insta food, or for leaving my clothes at other kids' houses and having to keep going to the teleporter to get them back. Stuff like that. I didn't know which was weirder, hearing my future son say I was going to turn into somebody like my own dad, or hearing him talk about all these gadgets of the future. Then it hit me. Mac knew all kinds of stuff. He knew who I was going to marry, where I was going to live, and what I'd be as a grown-up. So he'd obviously must know if I'd be playing for the Yankees. Maybe I was on a World Series team. Mac, I can't help noticing your sweatshirt. Are you just a fan, or do I happen to play for the New York Yankees? Max started to say something. Then he thought for a moment, and he stopped. He looked sorry. I can't tell you that, Dad. We're not supposed to tell anybody from the past anything about their future, and that includes you. You can't tell me anything about my job? Max shook his head. Okay, I said. But can I ask you just one thing? What? What kind of clothes do I wear at work? Dad, come on. I'm not allowed to tell you stuff like that. Okay, tell me something else then, I said. Do you collect baseball cards? Do I collect them? Sure, screeners, though, not cardboards. Screeners? I said. What's that? The electric ones. You never heard of screeners? No. I can't believe it. I thought they already had screeners by the turn of the century. Each one has its own microcomputer in it. Cardboards like the weight box one are priceless antiques. That's why I was so upset when I lost the other one. Would you like to take some of my antique cardboard back with you? I said. Max shook his head. Dad, nobody's allowed to make a profit from time travel, he said sadly. Too bad. But it's a rule. But if you promised me you'd never sell them, I said. I don't see what could be wrong with it. I will give you 2 packs of cardboards if you just tell me whether I spend the off season in Florida. Dad, stop it, said Mac. You really are being jardy. You're not even supposed to be discussing this kind of stuff. Okay, I said. But what about who I marry? Meg hesitated, but then he said, all I can tell you is that she's really splendid, he said, and funny, and smart, and pretty, and suddenly the cab screeched to a stop. We were at the Empire State Building. My wife would have to wait. We had something more important to worry about, finding that double-decker tour bus. We got out of the cab. Grandma Leah was right. The Empire State Building was surrounded by bright red double-decker buses. Every tour bus in the city must have been here. They all look alike, I groaned. Don't worry, Dad, said Mac. The bus isn't red. It's magenta and neon green, our school colors. You can't miss it. Mac and I checked twice at both corners, but there was no magenta and neon green double-decker tour bus in sight. That was too bad, because Mac had started flickering again. He was starting to look like a human firefly. Let's go to the top floor and see if we can spot the bus, I said. We were just heading for the doors when Mac noticed a hot dog stand on the street corner. How peerless, he said. They are selling real hot dogs right out in the open. You think it's weird they are selling hot dogs? Well, they are illegal, Dad, just like cigarettes and bacon. You could get them from a dog dealer, but they'd cost about $600 a piece, plus mustard. And eating one is a misdemeanor, of course. Max smiled a sly smile. Dad, could you maybe buy me I couldn't hear the rest of what he was saying. He was flickering like crazy and his voice sounded full of static, like when you're losing a radio station. Uh-oh, I said. Mac, are you okay? Yeah, I guess, he said once he was back to his normal self. But he didn't sound so sure. Dad, I think maybe you're right. We'd better find that tour bus soon. We hurried inside and took an elevator all the way up to the sightseeing deck. It was jammed with tourists. Meg leaned over the rail. Good thing Grandma Leah wasn't there to see that. We looked down at the streets below. We could see tiny ant-sized people and matchbox cars, but still no magenta and neon green bus. So far, we were getting nowhere fast. If I could only remember what our last stop was, Max said. I know it's something to do with watches or clocks or time. I pointed down to what looked like a green postage stamp. That's Central Park, I said. The zoo is in there. They have a great clock. Mac gave a flickering shake of his head. No, Central Park isn't the last stop, he said. Then, all of a sudden, he smiled. But it is one of our stops, he said. I'm sure of that. Mac was excited now. How long do you think it would take us to get there? Well, Central Park is huge. Your bus could be lots of places, but there's a big entrance to the park at Columbus Circle. Let's try it, he said. So he caught the first elevator down to the ground floor and went back out onto the street. This is rush hour, I said. A cab will take forever. Also, I've spent almost all of the money Grandma Leah gave me, but I still have enough for two subway tokens. Columbus Circle is just a few stops away. Oh, I'd love to ride the subway, said Mac. That's such an old-fashioned thing to do. So we headed for the nearest subway station. The platform was packed with people. A train pulled in right away. The door slid open, but it didn't seem possible to fit even one more body into the subway car. Push, I told Max. I gave him a shove. Max squeezed his way into the car. The door began closing. Hey, wait for me, I yelled. I tried to force my way on, but the doors were too strong for me. Mac, get off, I yelled. Mac tried to get off, but it was too late. The doors had closed. The train started pulling away, with me still on the platform. Get off at the next stop, I screamed in through the window. I will take the next train and meet you there. Then the train was gone. Oh, great. What kind of father was I? I'd had that song for exactly 1 hour and 15 minutes, and already I'd managed to lose him.